the best and worst things about every single current UFC champion. That is what we are here to discuss. We're going to be talking about all the good, all the bad that comes with each specific champ. And let's waste no time. Let's get right into this. Starting with Magomed Ankalaev. Big Mog, Big Ank. Good friend of mine. So, I mean, I obviously can't be biased. I'm trying my hardest to say bad things about the guy. It's hard to come up with a single bad thing about Magomed as champ, but we'll get to those. But, like, this guy's just a funny overall guy. He's just hilarious. Everything he does, he steps in the room. He steps in at Extreme Couture. He's just making everyone laugh. Magomed's just a funny guy, man. And honestly, he's just, like, people don't really know it because he seems a little bit stoic at press conferences sometimes, but sometimes Magomed will just crack a cheesy smile, cheesy grin, and the jokes just come flowing. And people don't really understand this about Magomed, but he's just a jokester. He's a trickster. Once this guy starts getting a little bit jokey with everyone, and as I said, the jokes start flowing, he'll have everyone at Extreme Couture rolling on the ground, laughing. Unfortunately, it doesn't always translate, but he's just a funny dude. That's number one. Team captain, Magomed is a team captain. What does that mean? It means that, I mean, at Extreme Couture, he's the guy that leads the pack. I mean, I know you guys have probably seen some Extreme Couture vlogs where Strickland looks like he's sort of the center energy of the room. It's actually Magomed. Magomed is not really a fan of cameras, so when the cameras are on and people are vlogging, he sort of stays away. But when the cameras are off, Magomed is in there. He's giving everyone pointers, giving everyone tips. Very, very, like, hands-on with sparring, because he'll see two people spar, and Magomed's one of these guys where it's really tough to shut him up when he's watching people spar, because he's so invested. It doesn't matter if you're the new guy coming in, first time training. It doesn't matter if you're Sean Strickland sparring Johnny Eblen. Magomed is watching from the sidelines, chirping in, brother, everything you could possibly imagine. This guy's saying it. Funny as fuck, dude. You'll stop sparring and you'll get out of the cage. Magomed will be there to make fun of you. This guy will be there. The first thing he does, he pats you on the back. You start walking past him. And he just fucking sneak disses you. Like, you fucking walk, dude, you'll walk past him, you'll be done sparring. And I've seen it before. You know, Johnny Eblen will get done sparring Sean Strickland. Johnny Eblen will get done sparring Sean Strickland. And Johnny Eblen walks out of the cage. Magomed's waiting for him because Magomed's watching the sparring, and he'll say, Bellator schmuck. He'll just call him a Bellator schmuck. He'll say, brother, you say you beat top 5? He'll just sneak diss you. He's a funny guy. It's all in good faith. Low-key good trash talking. We have to just get that out of the way as well. Magomed's just a good trash talker. He was telling Alex Pereira he's going to send him back to the freaking tire shop. And he's kind of got this grittiness to his stare down. Like, Magomed doesn't really have heat on his matchups, but, like, you know how some guys smirk? Like, Makhachev is a big smirky guy. Magomed shows up to stare downs and sort of grits down. He sort of does like the Anthony Smith. You know Anthony Smith when he's about to fight someone and he's in the octagon and he's, like, gritting his teeth? Magomed does that in stare downs, and it kind of creates this, like, pissed off energy between Magomed and his opponent. So he has the grittiness to his stare downs. He's got low-key good trash talk, even though a lot of it is Ali Abdelaziz. Crispy boxing as well. If you want to see truly high-level boxing, low output, be as it may, it is a little low output. If you want to see crispy boxing at light heavyweight, Magomed's the guy. He's got crispy hands, very, very fast, Speedy Gonzalez, and safe pick every fight. I mean, if you are someone that likes to get your predictions right, you can't go wrong picking Magomed Ankalaev, right? I mean, you just can't go wrong. Look how dominant Alex Pereira was, and for Magomed to go out there and clearly beat him, what does that say about the rest of the division versus Magomed? It doesn't say so much that's so great, but let's get on to the bad things about Magomed Ankalaev. He beats your favorite fighters by lackluster decision. As much of a fan of Magomed as I am, I do have to be honest, I was rooting for Pereira. Pereira's a more entertaining champion. And he just goes out there and it's like, no matter how violent, vicious, no matter how wild his opponents are, no matter the track record of how entertaining and consistently entertaining fighters are, Magomed will go out there and he'll beat him by a close split decision that's a little bit lackluster, and he'll just do it every time. He's not the most entertaining. He can have slow matchups, and the Jan Blachowicz fight was okay. it wasn't anything to write home about. The fight with Alex Pereira was actually just straight up boring. But Magomed, he's had some good KOs before, but most of the time Magomed's going to have that style that's not that great. I don't think it's as boring as people say it is, but let's not sit there and act like this is the most entertaining style as champ when we've got Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska in the division. Another thing about Magomed is he's got that long reigning champ potential minus the aura. Usually long reigning champs have aura, but I feel like Magomed is going to be a long reigning champ minus the aura, given that, again, his style is a little bit lackluster and will lead to these split decision kind of fights where not a whole lot happens, and he's not going to win a lot of fans by fighting like that. That's just how it is. He also disappears until fight week. He's very hard to promote. I mean, as funny and as awesome as Magomed is in the gym, he's not a big social media guy, so it's he doesn't really give us a whole lot to talk about when he's not getting ready for a fight 2 weeks out. And then, as I said, it's just it doesn't get the most finishes. Now, he is capable of getting finishes. I've seen some great Magomed Ankalaev KOs, like the one he has over Ion Cutelaba and Johnny Walker, but they're few and far in between. So let's get on to the next one. Merab Dvalishvili. Good things. This guy's built different. He's got the built different alien aura. Some fighters have aura because they knock people out. Some fighters have aura because they're dominant. Merab has aura because he's just, you can't really understand how he's able to go out there and perform at this seemingly inhuman level. His cardio is not human. His ability to go hard for 25 minutes, not slow down, not even for a second, lose any quick twitch ability, and maul people with his strength. It's just, you can't fathom it. You don't understand it, and therefore he has aura because he's built different, and it's just kind of crazy to see. He's a clip farmer. That's always entertaining. He goes out there, he'll stuff a takedown and do one of these in front of Umar Nurmagomedov. He mogs everyone. That's another thing. No matter who you are, you could be the heavyweight champ. He's going to mog you. Merab Dvalishvili has mogged everyone he's ever come into contact with. I'm honestly convinced that Merab could beat some of the heavyweights and some of the light heavyweights, the freaking lightweights and the middleweights. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. If you can't finish Merab, you're losing the fight. Straight up. Obviously, I'm joking a little bit, but you get my point. This guy just mogs everyone. He's just so comfortable no matter what the situation is. You know what I mean? Merab could be in a war zone with bullets flying at him, and he's going to be looking at you and saying, "Hey, bro, how are you? How are you, man? Hey, good, man." There could be bullets flying past this guy. You're going to be shivering your timbers. Oh, man. Oh, bullets flying everywhere. And Merab's going to be there laughing. "Hey, man, why are you so scared, brother? Why are you so scared, brother?" Merab is just going to mog you no matter what. It's like the plane's going down. You don't want to give a girl the ick. Merab Dvalishvili is literally the kind of guy to be filming his meme content while a plane is crashing. You know what I mean? He'll be in the aisle having a good time, not caring. Yeah, man, not caring at all, man. Merab doesn't give a fuck. All right, Merab, if you were to fucking shoot, if you were to shoot a literal cannonball at Merab, okay, Merab wouldn't give a fuck if he saw a cannonball coming towards his face. He would literally deflect it by his cool, calm, and collectedness, okay? So that's another thing. In the most awkward of all situations, Merab Dvalishvili will tap you and make a fucking goofy joke. So Merab is just the biggest mogger on the planet, and he's got an entertaining style. I know that we're not going to see any wheel kick KOs. I know that we're not going to see any 4-piece combination boxing KOs, but I just think it's entertaining to watch fighters that we know are the most technical fighters that have ever actually fought in history. I mean, listen, we're in the modern era of MMA. MMA fighters are the best fighters ever in hand-to-hand combat. Bantamweights are maybe the most skilled weight class. I would say bantamweight, lightweight, featherweight, those are the most skilled weight classes. Merab will take fighters like Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan. I know he hasn't done it yet, but Corey Sandhagen, and he will break these guys and make them look like they're random heavy bags in the gym. It would look similar to what, if someone were to tell you, let's say you just erase the crowd and it's just the octagon with Merab fighting people. if someone were to tell you, yeah, that's the champ and he's getting ready for his championship fight, he's just sparring a couple of bums, you'd probably say, oh, okay, yeah, so I understand it. You're just warming him up, feeding him these cans to spar against. That's what it looks like for this guy to fight the best fighters in the world. It's entertaining. We know how much of a cyborg Jan is. We know how dangerous and much of a sniper Sean O'Malley is. To see Merab just fucking destroy and break these guys is insane, and it's entertaining. It just straight up is. He's fun to root for. This is just super simple. It's fun to root for a guy where there's potential for the fighter that you're rooting for to literally throw someone out of the octagon. Like, it's fun to watch Merab pick Sean O'Malley up and throw him out of the octagon. You know what I mean? Imagine how fun it's going to be if you go into the Sandhagen fight rooting for Merab, and round 3, Merab is in on a double leg, and he's literally tossing Sandhagen through the air. It is the best time to be like, yeah, that's me. I'm doing that, right? You get my point. It's just it's so fun to root for this guy. He's a humble guy too. I mean, I know I talked about Merab being cool, calm, and collected, but in general, he's just a humble guy. He's just a humble man. Merab could be given $50 billion and he's going to go about his next day like nothing ever happened, brother. Nothing ever happened, man. Next up, he's a brother, and Merab brings the war-torn Caucasus energy to fights with Umar Nurmagomedov. Like, there's that dark, historical energy when you've got Merab and Umar, and they're at the press conference, they're doing the stare down. It's like, oh shit, I'm getting war-torn country vibes right now. You get the point. It's just heated, and it makes for a really intense buildup. The bad things, no double champ fights. One, it's because Pantoja wants to fight his contenders, which I respect it, but that means that there's not going to be a double champ fight with Merab and another fighter with a belt. Number 2, he doesn't want to fight Volk because he's friends with Volk, so that's number 1. Number 2, essentially every single Merab title fight is just a Merab belt wrapping ceremony at this point. Like, going into the Sandhagen fight, you can only get so hyped for it because you just know who's going to win. Really, at this point, you really just know who's going to win. If Umar can't beat him, if Jan can't beat him, if O'Malley can't beat him, Sandhagen can't beat him, okay? He beats Petr Yan. That is a bad thing. I'm sorry. I like Merab. I love Merab, but I do have to say, and this is something that a lot of people can relate to, Petr Yan is my favorite fighter at bantamweight. He's a lot of people's favorite fighters at bantamweight. There's something about Petr Yan, his style, everything about the guy where he's just a lot of people's favorite fighters. And Merab, with his not the most crispy style, will take out a crispy cyborg like Petr Yan, and it ties into this thing. Because Merab relies on his physicality, and he heavily relies on it, of course he's a really technical grappler 100%, but because he heavily relies on physicality, strength, cardio, the bantamweight division that was ruled by technical maestros like O'Malley and Yan, MMA Guru talked about this, and it's true. Merab is like the opposite of that. You know what I mean? You want to see Yan throw spinning back kicks and spinning hammer fists into hooks and flying knees, and O'Malley with step back counters. You're not going to see that when it comes to championship fights. You're going to see Merab make those fighters look like bums. They're going to have the worst performances ever because it's impossible to look good fighting Merab. And Merab is going to have like a physicality masterclass where it's physicality alone. Okay? So that can be seen as a downside, but, you know, it is what it is. I like Merab. I think he's an awesome champion to have. He's one of my favorite fighters. When I say beats Petr Yan, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I am a huge fan of Merab. Back in the day, it was tough to see him beat Petr Yan, but it's going to be tough to see Yan lose to him again if Yan does get that title fight. I'm not going to lie, but it's not really that bad of a thing. Islam Makhachev, another champion where there's a lot of good things. I'm honestly really liking the champs these days, guys. I think most of the champs in the UFC are awesome. Islam Makhachev is one of them. I think Islam Makhachev is one of the most well-rounded champs as far as everything you could ask for. He brings it all to the table when it comes to being a champion. He is the king of the smirk. You want to see a fighter that sort of gets under every single one of his opponent's skin, barely even having to try. This guy has a smirk that will accomplish that. This guy is always smirking in people's faces. He's easy to promote. He's a big star. I mean, it's proven by how big of a star he is, of course. But also, He's an entertaining guy, man. He's just entertaining. All of this guy's interviews. If I see a 30-minute MMA junkie Mike Bond interview with any other fighter, I'm probably not going to watch. But if I see it with Islam Makhachev, I'm watching the entire thing. And I'm going to be thoroughly entertained the entire time. There's something about this guy's personality. When he's talking about his future opponents, he does a little bit of shit talk. He's very frank. He's very honest with the way that he speaks. He's just an entertaining guy. It's hard to explain what it is, but he's just entertaining. He's funny. Okay, he's the brother final boss. Brother, this guy crazy, brother. Like, you get it, dude. He's just a funny guy. He's memeable. There are so many good memes that are from Islam Makhachev interviews with him saying, who gives this guy black belt, brother? And every time he does an interview with DC, you got to watch it. It's a must watch. The dynamic him and Khabib have with DC. Also, he's easy to root for if you want a new GOAT. I kind of like the idea of us moving past the John Jones Silva era where it's like, we've had the same GOAT for the last 10 years. Can we finally have a new undisputed GOAT, please? And I feel like he's one away from that. 2 max for the people that are the pump the brakes kinds of guys, okay? But also, another good thing about him is that he has an entertaining fight style, good striking, decent power, great submission game, always going for a finish, good pressure, imposes his will, and also he's dominant, but not too dominant to where you aren't extremely excited to seeing his title fights. He's dominant, but not too dominant, where it's like Aspinall just KOing some guy in 30 seconds and there's nothing to see and it's anticlimactic. Every Makhachev fight will be interesting. I like Makhachev. He's one of my favorite fighters. The bad things, there aren't many. Number one, he may never fight Topuria, which is something that I think is going to go down as a potentially cursed fight like Tony and Khabib. I really hope we see that, but I'm afraid that we may never see it, guys. Unless the UFC does it at 170, although I don't know. It just seems like we're never going to get that fight, which kind of sucks. Not saying he's ducking or it's his fault, but it just seems like it may never happen. And then also, it's going to be sad to watch him lose. I am not looking forward to seeing Makhachev potentially lose. I'm not saying he's going to lose necessarily, but if he does lose, I'm actually going to feel bad. Even if I were to be a fan of the guy that beats him. I like Topuria. I'm a fan of Topuria. I'm a fan of JDM. I don't want to see Makhachev lose. I like seeing Makhachev having because I think one of the things that makes him so entertaining is the fact that he's a winner and he's super confident and it can be proven by him beating people. I'm afraid that confidence that makes Makhachev so entertaining, brother, is going to wane if he takes an L. And he's going to lose some of that mystique, that aura going into fights, and it's just going to be sad. Like, Makhachev seems like a great guy, seems like a really nice guy. I don't want to see my brother lose. I don't want to see this guy take an L. Let's get on to the next one. Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena has a lot of good things about him. First off, crispy and gritty boxing. Crispy boxing like Magomed Ankalaev, very good technique. And there's something about fighters with really slick boxing. They're always very fun to watch. And it's because they stand out quite a bit in MMA. MMA has such a lack of good, solid fighters that actually throw hands really well with good technique. But it's not just the fact that he has crispy boxing and good technique. He's got gritty boxing. Gritty boxing meaning JDM's one of those guys that'll get right in the pocket and have a grit down. He'll be willing to bite down on the mouthpiece and trade. He's throwing slick combinations, but he's trading and willing to sit in the fire, and therefore it's entertaining. Number two, no personality. JDM's got no personality, but we're on the good thing, so how is this a good thing? JDM's lack of personality. He has such a dull personality, and it's so extreme, but it's almost to the point to where everything that he says can be put into an edit. Like, everything he says goes hard. Like, he was asked, Makhachev just tweeted after you beat Bilal that, you're just keeping the belt warm and you're not Volkanovski. And he says something along the lines of,
do you have any response to Islam?
No, come get it. Come get it.
And you expect him to expand on it. Like, come and get it. Makhachev is this. He just says, come and get it. And that's it. And that's it. He gets on the mic after beating Bilal Muhammad in the Octagon interview with Joe Rogan. And he says, like, I want to fight Islam. I'm doing it for Volk. And Joe Rogan is like waiting for him to say something else. And he just stops. He just cuts it off right then and there. But like, because of how short his answers are, it works for edits. The Aussie accent. It's like that old school Aussie accent with the gritty boxing, the gritty style of speaking, it works for edits. He is the most underrated clip farmer of all time when it comes to just speaking. Everything that he says is a one-liner. Cold. And again, it has to do with him being so boring that it almost like it does the opposite. He's so boring, he's entertaining as fuck. Okay? Also, he is your boogeyman's boogeyman. Jack Della Maddalena, he is the guy that you're afraid of the boogeyman fighting, right? You think about the boogeyman in the welterweight division, Shavkat Rakhmonov, right? Oh, Shavkat Rakhmonov. Yeah. Jack Della Maddalena fights Shavkat Rakhmonov, and you're probably scared for Shavkat. JDM is not getting out boogeyman by anyone. He's too tough. He's too granite-chinned. He's too gritty. He's too well-rounded brick wall takedown defense. Like, everything about him is just a nightmare for everyone. That's why people are talking about the Makhachev matchup. The pound-for-pound number one fighter in the world. People are talking about that fight being a bad matchup for Makhachev. That's just because JDM is your boogeyman's boogeyman. But things that aren't good, we talked about no personality. Yeah, well, it also works against him. I mean, let's be honest. This guy's not going to be a star outside of hardcore MMA fans, right? I mean, listen, we're talking a couple 100,000 Instagram followers. We all like JDM's style, but we're all hardcore MMA fans. I'm sure they're going to like him over there in Australia. But even if he beats Islam Makhachev, I don't know if he's going to get 1 million followers from that. The guy has like 200,000 Instagram followers. Is he going to jump to 1 million? And why do I care about followers? I'm just saying he doesn't have any crazy star power. And so a JDM fight is never going to feel that big. And also, let's just be honest, he has boring interviews. I want to watch a JDM interview and I want to listen to him discuss how he's going to approach the Makhachev fight. But at the end of the day, it's just his answers are so short. Everything's a one-sentence answer. And so the interviews aren't going to be that great with JDM. And he's just not got a lot of star potential. But outside of that, JDM is everything you'd ask for in a champion. He's very entertaining. And you look forward to his fights. Even though he's not going to be this huge star, you still look forward to his fights. Let's get on to Dricus Du Plessis. Entertaining style. One of the most entertaining styles in the sport, imposes his will like no other. You know, like Dricus Du Plessis goes to war with Adesanya, a war with Sean Strickland, both times. And it's like, those are two fighters, Strickland and Adesanya, that have potential to go out there and have a lackluster, boring fight sometimes. Dricus Du Plessis doesn't allow for it because Dricus Du Plessis is the X factor in those fights, making it entertaining. And also, he beefs with everybody. Dricus Du Plessis against Sean Strickland, beef. Against Adesanya, beef. Against even freaking Darren Till, this guy was beefing with Till. Till was like, dude, I don't want to trash talk at the press conference. He says, Dricus is a nice guy. I can't speak. Hey, Till kept saying at the press conference, Dricus is a really nice guy because Till was on a losing streak and he wanted to go in there, Mr. Humble Guy, on fight week because he was on a losing streak. And Dricus Du Plessis wasn't having it. Dricus Du Plessis was talking shit, and it was hilarious. And against Khamzat Chimaev, it's beef. I saw this photo of Dricus Du Plessis making a stupid facial expression, saying that he's trying to look like Khamzat Chimaev, and he's like mimicking Khamzat's lip or whatever. Dricus is just on fucking demon time with his trash talk. He beefs with every opponent. I can't think of a single Dricus Du Plessis fight that's not going to have beef. And even though Dricus Du Plessis carries himself like a classic champion. Like, you know, I'm trying to be South African with my accent there. Even though Dricus Du Plessis is sort of a classy champion, this guy straight up loves shit-talking people. And he can't help himself. And it's extremely entertaining. He has the best fight buildups, the realest, actually heated rivalries. And it's just awesome. And then also, he's got entertaining interviews. He's got a very frank personality. I have here written on the screen that he's got this old-timey catchphrase style of talking made 10 times funnier with his South African accent, saying things like tricky customer.
Like I said, he's a tricky customer when it comes to the defense.
Tricky customer, some shit you hear someone say from the 1950s. Again, he's talking about Robert Whittaker after he beats Robert Whittaker, and he's saying, we have to celebrate the legend of Robert Whittaker. I like Dricus Du Plessis. He is one of the best champions you could possibly have in the UFC right now. And it sucks because now we're going to get to the bad things. He just doesn't have star potential. Like, this guy has just taken out the 3 biggest names in the division. Outside of Khamzat, fair enough. Khamzat's a big name. But right outside of Khamzat, the 3 other guys that have big names, Whittaker, Sean Strickland twice, and Adesanya, Strickland, Adesanya, crazy buildups, heated rivalries, and this guy still doesn't have over 1 million followers on Instagram. He's got like 800,000. He's already captured, for the most part, the South African MMA fan base. Anyone that knows MMA in South Africa knows who Dricus Du Plessis is, probably follows him. But like, for whatever reason, despite the trash talk, despite the entertaining, intense rivalry buildups, and the super entertaining fight style, for whatever reason, just isn't taking off. And I know part of that is that the UFC just doesn't promote their champions. And when I say that, I really mean it. Like, literally, what does the UFC actually do to promote Dricus Du Plessis other than just putting him in the countdown episodes and doing their basic, same old, done 50,000 times before 30-second promos for ESPN, you know, that you'll watch. If you're watching another sport, 9 p.m., they'll roll out a promo for UFC 319, Dricus and Hamzat. And it's like a 5-second clip of Dricus Du Plessis highlights. That's it. So they're just doing the bare minimum to promote a guy like this. But if they actually tried to promote Dricus for real, I think he would be a lot bigger. But still, he's missing this X factor. I don't know what it is, man. I really don't know what it is. Because his style is entertaining. Maybe it's that he doesn't have a lot of super viral highlight reel worthy KOs. Like, he has a lot of KOs. He has a lot of finishes, but they're not the cleanest looking KOs. It's not like Pereira versus Hill, Pereira versus a guy like Sean Strickland kind of KO, Adesanya versus Pereira kind of KO. It's like the jab against Whitaker, dropping him and then following him to the fence and sort of beating him up a little bit. Whitaker folds up against the fence, but maybe it has something to do with that. But still, there are lots of fighters that are bigger stars that don't have the cleanest looking finishes ever, right? But that is the only bad thing about Dricus. And when I say it's a bad thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that like he could do so much better and change it, but like it just seems to be beyond his control. No matter how entertaining the guy is, yeah, man, like he just isn't blowing up as a star, which is crazy because he already has a couple defenses under his belt. Another thing is he's got a sloppy style. And that kind of makes MMA look bad, right? I mean, think about it. You ever hear old head boxing fans say things like these MMA fighters have no technique or they don't know how to throw a punch? Don't show them a Dricus Du Plessis fight because then they're just going to be proven right, okay? He just looks very sloppy, and to see him as a champ in 2025, it is not the best look in the world. Alexander Volkanovski, what are the good things about Volk? And it was tough to come up with them, guys. It was really tough to come up with these good things about Volk. But I tried my best. No, I'm just kidding. Volk is my favorite fighter. But first and foremost, entertaining style, high volume, perfect technique. And you could just count on that, man. And it's just fun seeing high-level martial arts on display at the highest level with Volkanovski. Okay? Number 2, he's got this chip on his shoulder. We call him the big chip. It's sort of that short man's chip. If you're short, you sort of understand what it means, man. You got a chip on your shoulder. And Volkanovski, that is the chip that propelled this guy to taking fights on short notice with Islam Makhachev. Like, Volkanovski is going to take the biggest challenges known to man. But you know why it's amazing? Because it means that this guy's never going to get lazy. You can always count on Volkanovski going out there and being at his absolute best, at least when he has a full training camp, being at his absolute best. And only Father Time can take him out. You know, some of these fighters, you get worried, man, are they going to rest on their laurels? Oh, he already won that. He's getting Volkanovski never gets comfortable, ever. And that's how you know he's always going to get better until he can't because of Father Time. He's easy to root for. He reverse ducks fighters. UFC is trying to line him up with a Yair Rodriguez fight that no one wants, and Volkanovski's out here begging the UFC to give him Movsar Evloev. And again, it's like, how could you not root for him? He's a great technical analyst on breakdowns. When he's doing interviews with Mighty Mouse, or he's doing interviews with other people and he's being asked, what do you make of this fight? What do you make of that fight, Volk? Because Volkanovski will break down that outside foot battle with the inside parry and the fucking two-piece rip and roll like nobody else, man. Volkanovski will break it down with the best of them. Also, he just mogs goated grapplers. Like, a lot of your favorite fighters, you're worried, oh no, they're going to get out grappled by this guy. You don't have to worry about that as a Volk fan. Volkanovski goes out there and makes grapplers eat dust with his stuffing of their takedowns. Volkanovski goes out there and shucks them off and beats them with the Craig Jones techniques and the chip on his shoulder Both of those combined, plus this guy's 5'6" tank build, is a grappler's nightmare. Why is that a good thing? Because sometimes it's just cool to see these goated grapplers that are boogeymen be rendered to like getting the body. You know, you would think that Makhachev getting the body lock is like the scariest thing ever. Oh, Makhachev has the body lock. But when he has the body lock on Volk, it's actually Volk who's mogging Makhachev. And Volk is peppering him with his back fist and yeah, oh yeah, basically the whole time. And the Australian fans are going wild. And Makhachev is like, oh shit, man, I've got this body lock, brother, and I'm getting humiliated here. That's just Volk, man. That's just Volk, man. And then also, dude, I'm fucking playing this up, guys. I'm playing this up. But like, come on, dude. You got to admit, Volkanovski freaking yelling at Makhachev, going like, yeah, was one of the fucking coldest, ice cold moments you've ever seen. Also, Volk's trash talking style is underrated. Volk has like this, that grandpa style of trash talking where, you know, your grandkid is acting like a little bit of a punk, and he hits them with that don't sit well with me. You're done, right? He does that to young punks like Ortega. Ortega with his freaking, you know, man bun, and Ortega's walking around with the freaking skateboard, and Ortega's going out there late, hanging out on a date with Tracy Cortez, and Volk's there waiting for him at the Tough House. That don't sit well with me. And he's telling him, man, you're done. You popped. You're done. And Volk will sun you, and you feel bad. And he had Brian Ortega crumbling at the press conference because Ortega got told by Volk that he doesn't respect him. Volk was telling him, you don't deserve to be champ. You don't deserve to be up here. And, you know, Ortega's sitting there like, shit, man, he's kind of right, bro. Shit, man, Gramps is kind of right, man. You know what I mean? Volk's is trash-talking Grandpa, really. There's a lot of good things about Volk as champ. Now, the bad things about Volk. Not the best finishing potential. And why is that a bad thing? Because as a Volk fan, every single fight this guy's in, it's a title fight. It's basically 25 minutes of anxiety watching this guy fight. It's 25 minutes where you may see him get dropped and you're going to lose your shit. You're going to be terrified the whole time that he's going to get caught with something because, you know, his opponents usually have more finishing ability than him. And it's like, yeah, we kind of know that if it goes to decision, he's got a great chance of winning, but it's like the opponent, their way to win is usually by KO. So it's always nerve-wracking. Number 2, Father Time is here. That means that number 1, we're getting closer to another Volkanovski loss. At least there's potential for that. It's hard to imagine this guy retiring on top. If he wins his next fight, he may stick around even more. But even if he continues to win, let's say he does retire on top after winning one more, that means his career is over. That means it's done. That means the Volk era is officially done and Volk is no longer fighting. And that sucks because, you know, we all like Volkanovski. We don't want this guy to retire, but it's going to have to happen at some point, guys. It's going to have to happen. Not a lot of bad things about Volk. Alexandre Pantoja. Good things about Pantoja. Disrespected champ aura, man. What am I saying? I'm talking about that number 6 on the pound for pound list after defending his belt 3 times. I'm talking about that closing in on Demetrius Johnson's GOAT status and still not talked about that much. But that's also just the curse of being a flyweight in general. The flyweights are never going to be the biggest stars. But it makes you root for the guy. It makes you want to stick up for the guy. It makes you get to be the hardcore fan in the room and say, well, what about Pantoja, man? What about Pantoja? It allows you to sort of flex the hardcore knowledge, man. If you're breaking up a flyweight, you're a real fan of the sport. Number 2, Pantoja's literally just an ordinary guy. He's probably the most relatable because all of these other champs, they seem like, oh man, like that's so hard to attain. These guys are the best fighters on the planet. Pantoja's just an ordinary dude. He could be an Uber driver. He's just a random guy that happens to be UFC champ. Sort of like Stipe. It's like, you know, back in the day, if you happened to be in Ohio in 2018, you'd run across Stipe Miocic. He's just a random guy. Okay? He's just a regular random ass dude. I feel like if you were to just roll the dice and it lands on whatever, it's going to generate a random person on the planet. Pantoja's coming up. Okay? Everyone knows Pantoja. We're all friends with Pantoja. He's our friend. Number 3, he never stops being hungry, which is similar to what I was saying with Volk. He's not one of these guys where you have to worry about resting on his laurels, getting comfortable, drinking his own Kool-Aid, and falling into his own hype. Pantoja could defend his belt for the 10th time. And as I said, he's just going to go back to being an ordinary guy and training hard just because that's what he does. The bad things about Pantoja, number one, no trash talk. I think it's clear that we're never going to see a heated rivalry at flyweight. We've seen him and Brandon Moreno, but there's no heat on it. You will never see Pantoja have a moment where he's getting hyped up or fired up. Never. It's just not going to happen. And the interviews are boring. I mean, listen, a Pantoja interview drops on Fight Week, you're probably not watching it. As fun as Pantoja is, as much as we respect his style, you're just not going to have the same hype as you would for Dricus and Hamzat, right? Or Adesanya Dricus. I keep bringing up Dricus, but you get my point, all right? He just doesn't have a lot of star potential. Let's get on to the next one. Ilia Topuria. Good things about Topuria. KO artist in the lighter weight classes and the marquee divisions. We are used to seeing KO artists at heavyweight, at light heavyweight, but we're not used to seeing KO artists in the lighter weight classes against the most popular fighters in the world back to back to back to back. Vicious knockouts. We're not talking Dricus Du Plessis dropping Whitaker with a jab and following him to the fence and crumbling him up against the fence. We're talking like flatlining people. We're talking about putting people's lights out, sinking them to the canvas with one punch, ragdolling people with KOs with perfect technique. So that's entertaining. He's easy to promote because of it. He's also a really good trash talker. He gives great interviews. Every single Ilia Topuria interview is entertaining. And he's going up to Charles Oliveira at a stare down saying, "I'm sorry this had to be with you." Like he's telling his opponent, one of the most dangerous fighters ever, "I'm taking pity on you because I know I'm going to destroy you and you know it too. And I'm sorry, man." And he's genuinely sorry. And it's just like, what more could you ask for when it comes to having a sick champion? And also, like Makhachev, he's got a smirk of his own. He's sort of got that brother mentality as well. Big smirker, very smug. Ilia Topuria, always smugging and smirking on Fight Week, pissing off his opponents. He's also a grappler's worst nightmare. Similar to Volkanovski, he's got the ability, because he's got this great grappling background as well, to mog these grapplers. And that ties into him being an MMA nerd's worst nightmare. Ilia Topuria is the dynamite KO guy that destroys these grapplers. That's why it's an MMA nerd's worst nightmare, because, you know, the MMA nerds are always going to pick the wrestler over the striker, and the grappler wins every single time. The pressure, the wrestling pressure. Ilia Topuria is just going to go out there and knock these guys out with dynamite every single time. And they hate to see the best fighter in the world be a KO guy, right? They want him to be a pitter-pat guy. They want him to be a Mateusz Gamrot, smudge him up against the fence, pressure wrestler guy. But it's actually a dynamite KO guy. That's the best fucking fighter on the planet. Okay? Now, as far as the bad things, number one, we may never get to see him fight Makhachev. As I said, it's a cursed fight. It's not for a lack of trying, that's for sure. He's trying to fight him, but I just have a fear that it may never happen. We also may not get to see the full extent of his offensive grappling, because he KOs people instead. He would rather opt to strike with people, and also his career may be kind of short. He may be one of those guys that retires after 4 title wins, and then that's it. He's out of the sport at the age of 29, 30. And so for that reason, Ilia has a lot of his game that he has yet to show us. Of course, we've seen him shoot takedowns here and there, but we may never get to see Ilia Topuria have like a grappling masterclass. And that's just one of those things that is interesting to see with the best fighters in the world, to see like the different parts of their game, the different wrinkles to their game. Another thing is, Ilia sort of disappears after Fight Week. This is an actual problem. As entertaining as Ilia is, as good as his trash talk is, and as great as his star potential is, it doesn't help that after Fight Week, he sort of doesn't do any interviews whatsoever. It's really rare to see an Ilia Topuria off-season interview, like 2 months after his last fight, he'll do an interview on Submission Radio, or he'll go on Demetrius Johnson or whatever. Like, we hardly ever see that. And that kind of holds him back, because he sort of goes MIA. He still posts on his Instagram. He still remains in the conversation, but in general, he's not really a guy where he does a whole lot of talking outside of Fight Week. So that is not the best. Let's get on to the next one. Tom Aspinall. Good things about Aspinall. UK heavyweight, It's having a UK heavyweight champ. It seems like the best base for being a big star. Is Tom Aspinall a big star? Not really. I do think the John Jones saga actually helped him a little bit, but in general, I think he could be a much bigger star, but he's not a big star because Dana White just hasn't been promoting him the way that he should have been promoting him. But it does help that he's from the UK, and what I mean by that is think about all the biggest heavyweight combat sports stars today. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, you get my point, right? Tom Aspinall, heavyweight champ. KO artist, that's another thing, super entertaining, gets these crazy KOs. Another good thing is he beats everyone in human history in hand-to-hand combat. And why is that a good thing? Well, why? That's just a random thing. It's a good thing because it's easy to argue, and it's just fun to argue against casuals, where you'll have people that are saying things like, no, well, I actually think the Spartans were, you don't understand, they were trained to kill, they weren't trained to beat people in MMA, or you don't understand, the Navy SEALs trained to do this. And it's like, dude, in hand-to-hand combat, Tom Aspinall is probably the best fighter of all time, I think, which is just fun to talk about, I guess. He's entertaining in interviews and vlogs. He's not a big trash talker. He doesn't have a super brash, cocky personality, but for whatever reason, his interviews are still really entertaining. I like listening to Tom Aspinall interviews. Even if they're like an hour long, I'll tune in to a Tom Aspinall interview every now and then, and I'm always engaged. You know, he has moments where he's funny, right? And he's very articulate, well-spoken, so I think that helps. He's actually very skilled at heavyweight, which makes our sport look good. We have champions like Dricus Du Plessis who, you know, I mean, as fun as Dricus is, you watch a Dricus Du Plessis fight and you're thinking we're back in the 90s. You're thinking we're in the salty spittoon days when it comes to skill. But with Tom Aspinall, this guy makes heavyweight look good. As far as the bad things go, we're never going to get to see the John Jones fight by no fault of his own, but nonetheless, that was an amazing fight that we're not going to get. And because he's the heavyweight champ, and because the only interesting fight was John Jones, there's really nothing else for Aspinall that's actually going to make you super excited. Like, it'll be cool seeing him knock people out. It'll be cool seeing him put together highlight reel KOs. But you can only get that excited. And that leads me to the next point, which is the way this guy is going to lose is going to be by some tragic freak injury or fluke KO. And when I say tragic, I mean tragic. It's going to be like Shamil Gaziev knocking this guy out on accident. Like, Gaziev is going to have to slip on a banana peel and accidentally chin Aspinall with an uppercut. And as happy as we would all be for Gaziev, it would be so tragic to see someone at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to skill defeat a wholesome champ that is actually amazing, the phenom at heavyweight. It would just be so sad, so unbelievably sad. I think everyone would be, the room would get very quiet, and Gaziev would be out there, yeah, brother, hey, and everyone would actually be so sad. It wouldn't even matter how big of a fan we are of Shamil. Okay? I actually would be happy for Shamil, but the point is, it'd be tragic. And then the other thing I'm going to bring up, and I hate to say this, but the only guy that I really see giving him actual problems is Magomed Ankalaev. And I'm not saying he necessarily wins, but I'm just saying the one guy that happens to potentially be good enough to give him problems is lighter man skill Magomed Ankalaev, who happens to beat people by lackluster split decisions. Imagine Aspinall losing to Magomed by a lackluster split decision. And the double champ, the guy that gets rid of the entertaining KO artist at heavyweight is Mag. I love Magomed, bro, but still, that would be kind of a bummer, not going to lie. So, yeah, but that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time.